Morning, guys. I hope you're staying well and you're getting a lot of work done at home. I thought I would just do a little bit of a screen recording for you to explain a few things. It is Prac today. Um, First off, I thought we'll just go through the amended notification. I hope you've all had a little read of that. Now, you will be aware that the date of the task has not changed. It's just merely for you, the format, how we're going down to 3 works and keeping it a little bit simpler. So we have read through all this. You can read through that yourself once again. Okay, so the VAPD stays the same. All your experimental drawing tasks should be in there and they should be resolved. That's what I set on Monday to make sure that they're all up to date. That means your watercolour's resolved, your reverse charcoal is resolved. They're all in there and they're all organised. And we know where all those instructions are in Prac slides. And I did put that optional extra for the collage if you did want to use that. And remember, you can submit that as one of your works if you would like. Okay, in terms of what should be in your VAPD, your 15 photos should be in there as well. And I've said they should be annotated with the type of shot. So it might be, it's a long shot, far away landscape of the beach. So just try and explain what it is and even what you're exploring there. And maybe some of them, what you think, what went well, and even better if. So some of your favourite photos you might want to circle and say what you liked, and some of your least favourite, maybe don't use these ones. The artist influence task is what we've been working on at the moment. There's an optional Google Maps. Your planning, your documentation should be in there using a range of sketches and annotations. Now, annotations, guys, is just labels. So explain what's going on in each of your sketches. So if you can't draw it properly, explain it. Maybe you could annotate with the materials, the techniques, your artist influences. We'll get to this later on. You'll be doing this one at the end. So you'll probably do that in week 1 of next term when you're handing it in. And anything that's in there, remember it's a process diary. You put every part of your process in your book. So this is the amended task, as you can see in red. 3 new pieces of work inspired by the Coogee landscape, refined and resolved in material and conceptual practice, and it's your interpretation of Coogee Beach. I'll get to that in just a moment. There's student samples here, which I really, really recommend that you look at, and specifications. So I've broken them down into material and into conceptual practice. So we know that you need to show your technical ability in 1 or more materials. So in your case, I have allowed you just to use 1 if you like, but year 11 is a time to experiment and see what happens. So push yourselves here, do something a little bit different. So that when in year 12, you've taken risks, you've had a go at some things. So push yourselves here a little bit. So lead pencil, pen, drawing meter on top of loose expressive watercolour. So that's the John Wosley style with the maps that I was showing you about. I'd love some of you guys, if you're doing that realistic drawing, have a little play, create a really light washy, wet on wet watercolour as your background and draw on top and see what happens. Watercolour with or without lines, so line and wash. Reverse charcoal, charcoal pencil you have in your art kits. Oil sticks and pastels a little bit hard, unless of course you want to go and buy them from the art shop. And collage, I know Brian, you took some paper, you guys might have some paper at home, and collage can be incorporated into your other mediums as well that you might want to create a background for. If you have any access to any Poscas, Copic markers, oil pastels, just run your ID past me first. There's some great, I will just quickly show you. I'll post up a video, a couple of images of some really cool Posca works. His name is Drew Brophy. If you just type in Posca Surf Art, I think you guys will enjoy that. So Posca Surf Art, his name's Drew Brophy. Approximately A3 in size, so you're going to be telling me how big you're going to work and into what sort of level of detail. So if you're super detailed, you can go smaller. They can be abstract, semi-abstract, realistic, or combination. They can contain mixed media elements such as layering and collage, and of course that's going to add to your meaning, which would add to your mark. So think about by layering things, incorporating more mediums, it would actually build meaning within your work, so it's not just a pen or a pencil drawing. So really think about doing that. And I have left this in. I would like you to include some text or poetry somewhere. Now don't just stick it in the sky like it's floating there. Think about ways you can incorporate that into your work or layer it over the top of your work. A little bit of a challenge there. I'd like to see how you guys go with it. Okay, the meaning of the work. Now, I read through a couple of your statements that you sent as part of your assessment planning. What's important that all three of your works work as a series and that they say something about Coogee. So, an idea and meaning about the Coogee landscape. You're going to make choices based on your subject matter, what's in it, the composition, where you choose to put things, maybe the camera angle, the selection of materials and techniques to express this area of Coogee Beach. So if you're doing a rocky area and trying to show the textures and the ruggedness of the Coogee landscape, maybe you could be using watercolors and cling wrap and salt to create that sort of texture. So you need to be making the right choices based on your concept. Okay, so that's that. Theory, let's not worry about that until next week. So really become familiar with that. Now, as for today's task, the big thing I want you working on, let's have a little look. So you should have read through the assessment task. All your work in your VAPD should be finished and resolved. You're not working on that, well, you shouldn't be. Now, complete the planning for a Prac assessment. I have added some new things based on our new current situation. This is to be submitted at Monday at the very, very latest. I would like today so I can provide feedback over the weekend. If you do submit something early prior to the date that I set, can you just give me a heads up in the private comments so I will be able to mark it sooner rather than later for you. And then, of course, start on your assessment. I will create some progress posts along the way where we can check in and see how you're going and I can provide feedback. Assessment still due at the same time, theory on Tuesday. Don't start question 3, we're doing that on Tuesday. And just, you can imagine I'm getting so many emails at the moment. Can you, if you've got a question that you think would be useful for the whole class, can you just post on that day's post? So just as a comment. If it's of a personal nature or it's something really just relevant to you, send us an email, no problem. Attached to the planning document, so this is what you're working on today, this one here. You should have found your inspirational artworks, 4 of them. You should have answered those questions. Now I'm going to show you a really good example in just a moment. You're going to scan up your sketching ideas and compositions, and you're going to put that in that document for me to see. And you're going to also paste in the photos that you've taken at Coogee Beach that are inspiring your work. So this is really just getting yourself set up and a good plan before you jump in. So I hope Jacob and Lucas don't mind, but I've actually created a little bit of a dummy example for you. I'll just zoom out a little bit. So this is what this document should look like. Your inspiration artworks, you should have found 4 of them. Now you needed to explain what you like. To go even further and make it more meaningful to you, how could you use them? If you like this image, what aspect of it or technique could you use as part of your work? So getting that, your head around that could give you some good sort of direction of where to go. Because as artists, we really should be looking at artist inspirations the whole time that we work, especially you guys learning. Find artists that do something in a similar style, copy theirs and make your own style. So you can see, thanks Jacob, you've explained all these down here. One thing you did need to include, I have said here that, and this was in the original, one must be from the inspirational drawing artists document. That's this here. Because I'm going to ask you in your statement at the end, which artist have you been inspired by? Now, you can't just say some random artist off Google Images. You need to be able to quote an artist. So as you scroll through here, you can see their artist names are up here. And this is a book based on landscape and drawing artists. So you should be able to find an artist here that you are influenced by. The one I keep raving on about, and you probably have a guess that he's one of my favourites, is John Mosley here, who does those beautiful layered watercolours. So you could use him as your inspiration. So that's important that, like I've done down here, from inspirational drawing artist book, and I've stated the artist. So make sure one of your 4, you can state the artist is reputable. Okay, so planning questions. So sorry, Jacob, that I'm showing yours. I have added a few bits and pieces to it. So the task that you didn't enjoy and you did enjoy. Now, Jacob's done a great little table here. Aspects, feelings, experiences, ideas I'll communicate about Coogee. So aspects, feelings, experiences, ideas. Now, Jacob, you needed to go 1 step further and write it as a paragraph, and I've done that for you. I don't know if it's exactly what you're trying to communicate, but I'd like to see this, because this is going to go straight into your statement. From the planning table above, I would like to explore the sense of community and welcoming atmosphere which exists in Coogee Beach. This will include the local businesses to the surfing and swimming communities and gatherings, to finally people socialising and at leisure. I will capture the laughter, excitement, and happiness of a range of people from different backgrounds, ages, sex, and interests. So that's, you need to formulate that into a paragraph as I just read through there. How can you achieve this? We need to work on this a little bit. So what could I do with my materials and my techniques, my composition, my subject matter in order to represent what is above? So of course I'm going to be including people in it. I'm going to be including people that are socializing, laughing. I might even want to do a close-up of faces laughing. I might want to do a shot outside the Lifesaving Club and show the people in that part of the community. So you've got to think about what can I do with subject matter, materials and techniques, and composition to help communicate that. Don't rush that, because that's going to really drive the direction of your work. Okay, and the last question was materials used. I think it says, if I just remember correctly, what material and style, how many, what size, on what. So again, it's you planning. Then, okay, then you're sketching ideas and composition. You're going to insert your images here. And then the inspiration photos that you used of your photos from Coogee that are going to inspire your work. So you can see how that document will really help you plan, and it will help me give you some good feedback over the weekend for the direction of your work. So the big ticket item to get finished today, absolutely, would be the planning for assessment, and that's up here in classwork. Then I'd love to see you starting on your work. Don't forget student samples. Okay, I've attached that to the post. I attached a heap of stuff to this post again and again for you to access. I don't know what that is actually. I'll go through and delete that. It's from Nine Visual Design. This John Moseley, like I said, where are we? I think it's in this word. Push yourself to create some layered works. This would say a lot more about the landscape than just a pencil drawing. Yes, okay, maybe do one pencil drawing, but push yourself. See what you can do with some of the techniques that we've learnt. Layer up these drawings. Do something quite beautiful in the background before you, I can't zoom in. Okay, this mix of watercolour and drawing is quite beautiful. Lucas, I'd like to see you do these birds and tell me a little bit more about what you like about these birds. So this mixture of mixed media. So push yourselves, please. I'd like to see something a little bit different. As for theory, can you please make sure that you've added all your work? And I've given you reminders if you haven't. I'm going to be marking over the weekend. And look, guys, same discipline occurs here. I need to let Mr. Patterson know when you're not doing your work. So I will be using Google Classroom to check on that. And I'm going to mark whatever I can over the weekend, and whatever's submitted later on, I won't mark. Mr. Patterson will know. Boys, sorry for the long-winded explanation, but hopefully that gives you a bit of context of where we're going. Please check in any questions you have. Even if you want me to try and demonstrate some materials or techniques, just email me. YouTube's such a great resource. If you just type in watercolor landscape, you'll be able to see lots of videos. Even one thing I like doing is typing in speed drawing. It might be watercolor speed painting, and it's actually a fast sped up version of someone doing a watercolor painting. So you could sort of look up that. So keep looking for things on the internet. It's a great resource. Email me. I look forward to start seeing some of your work, and I'll be in touch on Monday. Thanks, guys.